Good morning. We're in the middle of a series called Lost in Translation. The Bible was written, we've been talking about, in non-English languages. It was written in Hebrew, in Aramaic, and Greek. And when translating from one language to another, no matter what language you were translating from to, it's difficult to capture the shades of meaning. Shades of meaning are oftentimes lost. And this is true of the Bible. When you're trying to go from these languages to English, shades of meaning are lost. And what we're seeking to do, taking words and trying to recapture those shades of meaning that are lost in translation. This morning we will look at the word mystery. Mystery is a Greek word, and mysterion. And mystery is one of the critical words in terms of unlocking the Bible. When we understand the concept of mystery, it helps us to unlock the Bible. And what it helps us to do is try to figure out, well, why is the Old Testament so different from the New? If you ever read both Testaments, the Old Testament has lots of things that you look at it and say, I don't get this. New Testament, I get a little bit, but the Old Testament is strange. There's rituals and things that are unfamiliar. God seems to act in ways that are somewhat frightening, somewhat strange. When we understand the concept of mystery, it'll help us to figure this out and it'll give us a better idea about why this and why that. A mystery is a secret. It is something that's intentionally hidden. Something purposefully concealed. Again, that's what mystery is. It's not just something that you don't know. It's something that I purposefully keep you from knowing. I veil it. I hide it. And I intend to do that because I don't want it to be seen. When we think of mystery, we think of something that's difficult to unravel. A good movie or a good TV mystery keeps you guessing until the end when all the pieces of the puzzle come together. When the Bible uses the term, though, it is not describing something that's difficult to unravel. In the Bible, mystery is different. A mystery is not something difficult to unravel. A mystery is something that's impossible to unravel until it's revealed. It's not that if you really try hard you might get it. It's that you're not going to get it. That there are things that God purposefully conceals, that He intentionally hides, and they don't come out of hiding. They're not obvious until He makes them obvious. We can't figure it out. He has to tell us what it is. God's mystery must be revealed. We can't figure it out otherwise. Look what it says in Matthew chapter 13. Jesus has just been telling parables. And we'll see that a parable is a story that both reveals and conceals at the same time. You could hear a parable and understand one point, but not get the point. And the disciples know that people are going away scratching their head. And because they don't understand what He's saying, they asked Jesus, well, let's pick up the narrative in Matthew 13. The disciples came to Him and asked, why do you speak to the people in parables? He replied, the knowledge of the secrets. The word there is that word, mysterion, the mysteries. The knowledge of the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Whoever has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. This is why I speak to them in parables. Though seeing, they do not see. Though hearing, they do not hear or understand. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. For I tell you the truth. Many prophets and righteous men longed to see what you see, but did not see it. And to hear what you hear, but did not hear it. There are questions that bubble to the surface here. Why does Jesus say something to someone and tell them not to say it? Why does He do that? Well, why does Jesus speak in a parable, which is a story that you could hear the story and not get the point? Why doesn't He just say what He says and mean what He means? And there's some questions that are going to bubble to the surface. We're not going to answer all of them, but what I'd like for us to do is not lose sight of the fact that God makes use of mystery. That's what He does. What He does, God purposefully veils things. He intentionally hides things. That's what this seems to indicate. Jesus said, the knowledge of the mysteries of the kingdom is given to you. I speak to the people in parables because it's the Father's intent, for whatever reason, to hide things in mystery. So what we see then is that God uses mysteries. And God says things, but He doesn't always allow us to see exactly what He's saying. Now you say, Mike, why did... I don't know. But what we want to do is just identify, okay, that's what He does. There are truths that God intentionally hides. There are truths that He purposefully conceals. It's not that these truths are difficult to unravel. They're impossible to unravel until He reveals them. And that's why Jesus spoke in parables. Because a parable, again, is a way that Jesus can tell a story and keep some people in the dark and have some people able to see the point. So that's what the disciples are asking. Why do you do this, Jesus? Now, we get the point because you explain it to us afterwards. But they don't get the point. Why do you use mysteries? The Father has determined, what Jesus says, that you get to see what has been cloaked in mystery to this point. It's what it says in the beginning. The knowledge of the secrets, the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you. He tells them that there have been a lot of people that came before you as He talks with the disciples. A lot of people were told to say this and to say that. And they said this and that because God told them to say it, but they didn't understand really what He was saying. And what Jesus says, you're very fortunate to the disciples. There's been a lot of people that wanted to see what you see and hear what you hear, but they couldn't because God was speaking in mystery. God's nature is veiled in the Old Testament. The mystery has to do with God Himself. God expresses Himself through the documents of the Old Testament in a way that both gives clues to what He is like and keeps us from putting all the pieces together. If the only picture we have of God is from the Old Testament documents, that's all we had. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, the history books, the poetical books, the prophets, Isaiah, Daniel. If all we had was the Old Testament of the Bible, there would be clues to God's character. The problem is that we would not know enough to clearly understand what God is like. Again, I want to say this again. There's nothing wrong with the Old Testament. Because it's not that God made a mistake. It's not, that God slipped up. What we're saying is that God intentionally spoke in mystery. Which means, through the Old Testament documents, He reveals some things about Himself, but not in a way that allows us to see Him clearly. Does that make sense? And you might say, I don't understand why He does it. Oh, that's a question. But that He does it, that's what we're trying to get our arms around. It wasn't God's intent to clearly reveal Himself through the Old Testament documents. Why would He do that, Mike? Because He's making use of mystery. God purposefully conceals some things. And these things have to do with Himself. He intentionally hides them. So if we try to build an image of God by the Old Testament documents, we can't do it. There's not enough there to clearly reveal what He is like. We don't understand Him. That's what, look what it says in John chapter 1. It said the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but God, the one and only, who is at the Father's side, has made Him known. No one has seen God at any time, but God, the one and only, who is at the Father's side, has made Him known. Jesus Christ became flesh, and because Jesus became flesh, we are able to know what God is like. What it says, the law was given through Moses. Now, God spoke through individuals from Mount Sinai, but what He said from Mount Sinai does not allow us to fully know Him. He communicated law, but when you put your finger on the pulse of what God is like, you don't find commandments. Commandments give us a sense, a shadow, a fuzzy image about what God is like, but He doesn't clearly reveal Himself in commandments because God is more than cold, hard, gray stone tablets. Now we can see some things, but there's mystery here. He doesn't fully reveal Himself. That's why it says grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. What is God like? You have to look past Mount Sinai to see what God is like. You have to look at Jesus Christ. He's the one that made Him known. God is not clearly reflected from Mount Sinai and the things that are proclaimed there. When you look at the Old Testament documents, there's some things that are disturbing. Racism. Something approaching genocide are associated with God's proclamations. Is this what God is like? Is God a racist? You say, oh, no. Well, the Old Testament documents indicate that there's one ethnic group that's in and the rest are out. That's what the documents indicate. Is that kind of what God is like? And the answer is no. How do we know? Because God doesn't fully reflect Himself from Mount Sinai. He reflects Himself from Mount Calvary. Was Jesus a racist? No. Jesus did not just have time. Jesus came because He intended that the Father's promises would be given to the whole world, Jews and Gentiles, slave and free, male and female. God does not discriminate on the basis of race, class, or gender. How do we know? Because Jesus makes God known. But He said, Mike, but God doesn't fully reveal Himself. He is making use of mystery. God's nature is unveiled in the New Testament. You cannot get an accurate picture of God from Old Testament documents. Again, there's nothing wrong with them. They are couched in mystery. Facets of God's character are purposefully veiled, intentionally hidden. In the words to the disciples, the revelation of the mystery is associated with healing, which Jesus says that to the degree we understand what God is truly like, there is a wholeness that comes within, a sense of healing. It's important. Mystery must be revealed. To the degree we try to make a hybrid of God from this picture, which really must be God, and the New Testament picture, which really must be God too, when we try to put those together, we get something that looks like a Picasso painting. It doesn't go. There's pieces that you can't put together and make something that looks whole. Mystery must be revealed, and the mystery has been revealed. Look what Paul says in Ephesians 3, verses 2 through 9. I'll read it. Follow along. He writes to this Gentile community and says, "Surely you have heard about the administration of God's grace that was given to me for you." That is, here's our word, the mystery made known to me by revelation. What happened? Jesus Christ had a discussion with Paul. Paul did not believe that Jesus was God. You know why? Because he didn't fit this picture. Now, Paul knew the Old Testament documents. Saw Jesus, saw the Old Testament, he says, no way. That is not that. Until Jesus showed up on the road to Damascus and said, guess what? I am God. And then at that point, Jesus told Paul the mystery. The mystery. The thing that was purposefully hidden, intentionally concealed. Jesus said, come here, Paul, I want to tell you something. And what he told him? I am God. And this is what God is like. And it rocked him. It rocked him. That's not what he had been taught. Well, we get that, don't we? We get that. And we talk about what God is like, and He's like Jesus, and you say, Mike, no way. That's not what Sometimes what we're taught and what Jesus tells us come into conflict. But what Jesus told Paul, that's the mystery. Goes on, as I've already written briefly in reading this thing, you will be able to understand my insight into the mystery of Christ, which was not made known to men in other generations, as it has now been revealed by the Spirit to God's holy apostles and prophets. Hear what he's saying? It wasn't made known then. It's not that they were stupid. It's not that they were sinful and they couldn't see. It wasn't their fault. God purposefully veiled things about Himself. They weren't able to see it. With Jesus, God made it known. And that's what Paul said. And Paul said, He made it known to, Paul says to me. It goes on. This mystery is that through the gospel, the Gentiles are heirs together with Israel, members together of one body, sharers together in the promise in Christ Jesus. I became a servant of this gospel by the gift of God's grace given me through the working of His power. Although I am less than the least of all God's people, this grace was given to me to preach to the Gentile the unsearchable riches of Christ and to make plain to everyone the administration of this mystery, which for ages past was kept hidden in God who created all things. When did God begin to create this mystery? Before the world ever began. God veiled Himself through creation, through the Old Testament, and unveiled Himself when He sent Jesus Christ. I think that's what mystery means. God revealed this mystery to Paul. Paul reveals it to Gentiles, in particular to people in general. People say, you know what, God is mysterious. God's mysterious. And that's used as a way, don't even bother to think about what He's like. He's too mysterious. That's not okay. Because the mystery's been revealed. And what God would have us to do is to sit down with this Bible and try to figure out, what in the world does this mean? This is not easy stuff. This is a difficult word and a difficult concept. If this isn't raising questions in your mind, you're not listening to me and you're not hearing me. This is a dicey concept. What, Mike, are you saying that he plays, not that he's playing games, but he does hide himself in mystery? It's the truth. God is mysterious, but the mystery has been revealed. The gospel is intended to reveal mystery. What is the mystery? That through the gospel, the Gentiles are heirs together. The mystery is that Gentiles are in. Paul proclaimed to the Gentiles the unfathomable, undecipherable riches of Christ. And I guess what that means, Gentiles are not divine afterthoughts. See, that's what we get the sense that God really just wanted to create a people through the children of Israel. That was His intent. And they messed up. And so God says, okay, gee whiz, plan B, I'll go to the Gentiles. No. Before the creation of the world, God determined that He would be the God for the whole world. And then He creates mystery. But it was always His intent that who He was would be for the benefit of everyone. Jew and Greek. Slave and free. Male and female. God, discrimination is out. It's not what He's like. God does not discriminate on the basis of race, class, or gender. We find that in Jesus, don't we? Paul made it plain to everyone the administration of the mystery, which for ages past was kept hidden in God. This got Paul in a lot of trouble. You know what he ended up saying to people? To Jewish Christians? He ended up saying, you know what? God didn't fully reveal Himself to you. All those things you went through, God determined that you wouldn't just be the ones that He would include in His family. The Gentiles would be included. That's what got Paul in a lot of trouble. The Jews suffered terribly. Terribly. And it helped for them to believe that God was with them uniquely in their suffering as He was. And when Paul ended up saying that God does not just exist for this ethnic group, He exists for the whole world, that created problems because they had suffered terribly. And again, I'm not blaming them for that. We've said this before. What the Bible indicates is that God uses exclusion to accomplish inclusion. The Jews felt excluded. And God then uses that exclusion to appeal to the Gentiles and include Gentiles. And what it says, now is the time where God is including Gentiles. What will happen in the future is God will look back and reveal Himself to the Jews, what He is actually like. And then there will be a number of Jews who will be able to embrace who God is in a way that they cannot, well, many do not now. A couple things as we kind of try to figure out, so what do we do with this? Old Testament can be confusing. We look at it and we creates disturbing questions about God the Father. It's important to factor in the use of mystery. Understanding the mystery allows us to make some sense of this. God is not two different beings. Again, He purposefully veiled or concealed aspects of Himself that He ended up proclaiming. So I guess what I'm saying is this: God is not a hybrid, an amalgam of the Old Testament and New Testament. He is who Jesus reflects Him to be. And understanding that mystery helps us understand some reason why. Again, that God purposefully did this. If we base our image of God on Old Testament documents, we end up, and if we really zero in on those, we end up making mistakes that I see on Christian television. When you listen to somebody who's trying to get you to believe that God will bless you with status and wealth if you're obedient, if you listen to the passages they talk about when they teach that, they are always from the Old Testament. Always. Because in the Old Testament, God rewarded individuals with land and seed and blessing. And the problem with that is that that really doesn't fully reflect what God is like, because Jesus reveals that you're going to follow, if you follow God, you won't become rich. Jesus wasn't rich. Paul wasn't rich. Now again, some people have wealth. You're saying, well, I follow Jesus and I have money in America. We have money. But I guess what I'm saying is, in terms of a theology, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. What we find with the New Testament is that people were willing to move away from having it now because of their sense that they were included in future blessings. And when you turn into a TV program like that and just try to wondering, well, why don't I have a bunch of money? And why am I not wealthy? And why am I not healed? The image of how God functions is presented from an Old Testament. And does God heal people? Yeah, He heals some people. Does He heal everyone? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, He doesn't. If you're good and you do what He wants, will He make you rich? No, He won't. Like the song that Sarah sang, He's with us. Even in the conference room, even when things are falling apart in the family. And the problem is, when we have this picture of God, we determine that He's not with me, because if He was with me, everything would be going fine. No, it wouldn't be. That's not what He's like. He'll be with you in everything. And we'll get our blessings on the far side. The worship team, come on up. I'm going to sing a closing song. Some of you are thinking, Mike, I don't get this. You know, you're talking about mystery, and it's a mystery to me. That's one thing I come out of this thing with. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. You will get it, and what you get will, because we talk about what God is like a lot, what you get will transform your image of God and will transform your life. So, Father, thank You for how You reveal Yourself, and I pray that we would know You. He said no civilization of people can rise above their image of You. And if You were in the beginning, then seeing You clearly is critical. I guess I'd ask that You would help us to do that. Thanks that it is Your nature to be self-revealing. And I guess ask you to do that. Help us to know you, what you're like. Reveal yourself to us, so that our image of you can be in line with what you're actually like. And as we do see you, our hearts will respond in trust and the desire to walk with you, to serve you, to obey you. Thanks for who you are. In Jesus' name, amen.